everyone, Lou here. You know, in August 2020, I was gifted Persona 4 Golden by a subscriber who really wanted me to review this game. After all, I love Persona 5 with all my heart, so I knew I just adore Persona 4 Golden, except I took way too long to review it due to several delays, writer's blocks, distractions, mental health, etc. But today is the day. Today, let's review Persona 4 Golden. The original Persona 4 released on July 10th, 2008 to overwhelming positive reviews, and to many it was the definitive game that birthed the Persona series into a staple game series. While Persona 3 was beloved and made way too many people cry, nothing beat the popularity of Persona 4 until the release of Persona 5. Much like Persona 3's re-release, where a remaster was made called Persona 3 FES that contained an entirely new epilogue and major bonuses, Persona 4 would receive one as well called Persona 4 Golden, made for the failed PlayStation Vita on June 12, 2012, to even more praise in the community, and only further launched Persona 4 into popularity, where Atlus is still milking the shit out of it to this day. For many years, the Persona series was exclusively a console release, to a point where a PC release was nothing more than wishful thinking and gaming forum gossip, until June 13, 2020, when Persona 4 Golden would release on PC. This would also mark the first time Atlus released a Persona game on PC for the very first time, and they're slowly continuing this port of all Persona games, including Persona 5 Royal and the controversial Persona 3 Portable. If you ask me, I would literally die and fade into the abyss if Atlus actually fucking released Persona 2 Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment's PSP remakes for the PC, but knowing Atlus fucking hates Persona 1 and 2, that's real wishful thinking right there. For this remake though, I will be keeping it as spoiler-free as humanly possible. This is mainly so people can enjoy the game themselves, and this is the Persona series, which means this video would be like 10 hours long if I actually sat down here and wrote out the story in full detail like I do my other game reviews. If you do want a spoiler review, my friend Sleep Live did a review and retrospective for the entire Persona 4 franchise, so I highly recommend checking him out down below if you guys want another perspective or a spoiler review. Alright, let's get started. The protagonist of Persona 4's story is nameless, technically, but Atlus pretty much confirmed that his anime name of Yu Narukami is his canon name, so that's what I'll be calling him. It's also because I genuinely like this name over his other names, which is Soji Seta in the manga and Hayato Asakawa in the stage play. Yu Narukami is a 16 to 18-year-old teenager whose parents are working abroad for a year, so he has to stay with his uncle Ryoto Dojima in the small town of Inaba, which is a pretty typical Japanese countryside town. Weird shit happens where he ends up making a contract with Igor and the Velvet Room attendant in this game, Margaret. Basically, they mention something about a destiny and a persona, a tutorial on the game's upcoming themes of breaking societal expectations, being yourself, friendship, saving the world from an angry high-powered deity, and solving murder, I guess. The game's main story starts where you and your new besties, Chie and Yosuke, discover there's a world inside TVs that shows your true ugly inner thoughts, and it's connected to two murders in the town of Inaba. The mystery gang grow larger and larger as they try to thwart this potential serial killer, where hijinks ensue, and the biggest storyline being that these are all characters that accept the ugly parts of themselves. For instance, Yosuke has to accept that he's extremely selfish because he's bored living in a small town after growing up in the city, Kanji accepting he's gay and dropping toxic masculinity, and Yukiko learning she has a voice as well, so she doesn't need a Prince Charming to whisk her away from this small town when she can do it by herself because she's a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man. It's really great stuff, and it's something I don't see a lot. I mean, how many stories can you say promote accepting that being human means that we really have ugly, selfish thoughts? Not many, specifically not ones portraying that in a positive light. I mean, we're human, and it doesn't mean we think that all the time either. It's just that being human means that we're gray, basically. I don't know, I feel a lot of people my age and younger view the world as very black and white right now, and I really appreciate a game re-releasing that shows that The world isn't so black and white as we think. We don't always think the white thoughts, we don't always think the black thoughts. Sometimes we're just gray. Another thing I love is how well character interactions are written. At some point it feels like these characters have known each other their whole lives, which is kinda true for the cases like Kanji and Yukiko, but it shows they click so well, you know? Not to mention the murder mystery. If you guys are new here, I love murder mystery stories. I love watching who the culprit could be, as well as an investigation slowly coming together. So you bet your ass I was fully invested in this murder mystery and loved every moment of it. Overall, the story for Persona 4 Golden is top-notch as always for Atlas. I mean, there are some flaws, of course. Quite a bit of fan service in some places. And some slurs are said in the English release due to 2011 being a very different time for young adults, but still, I deeply enjoyed Persona 4 Golden's story. Now, the gameplay for the Persona games after 3 have always been very interesting in that it mixes life simulator and RPG together very well. Though I have to admit that it is a little overwhelming at first just because you have to do so much and you have a limited amount of time to do it, as well as a deadline in the dungeon you're supposed to be exploring. If any of you have played Persona 5, I would argue that Persona 4 is just a little harder because there is decay on social links if you don't visit the person enough, and it feels like there are a lot more characters that prove to be extremely helpful compared to Persona 5. However, once you've sort of got a schedule going, it becomes a lot easier as the gameplay goes on, and you find yourself in a good rhythm of minimizing your schedule and exploring the dungeon of the week. It also helps that there's a prompt that gives you a sort of survey on what other players did the same day as you, which helps a lot in figuring out what to do next if you don't want to look up guides. Honestly though, my biggest advice with both Persona 4 and 5 is to explore the dungeon as much as you possibly can, then do your routine for the next couple of days, followed by finishing the entire dungeon when you have 3 to 4 days left, just so you have a buffer to go buy more healing items or weapon upgrades. Combat-wise though, Persona 4 is not exactly an easy game, specifically early on. Mainly my problem was with Yosuke, who was constantly having to heal himself because a lot of enemies used abilities he was weak to, which I honestly found pretty unfair when you can't exactly switch him out for someone else yet. I guess it's to teach you to guard and all that, but sometimes it's simple mistakes in Persona 4 that are extremely unforgiving to me. I don't know, it could be that I absolutely fucking suck at turn-based RPGs, or I haven't played Persona 5 in a long time, but Persona 4 definitely feels like a serious challenge in combat. I'm not kidding that for me, and this could absolutely be a skill issue, but Kanji's shadow boss fight was so strong and OP that I had to switch to an easier mode, and I barely survived because both Chie and Yosuke died in the last turn before I won. Again, could be a skill issue or that I didn't grind enough, but it was definitely pretty rough. Overall, the slice of life portions of Persona 4 can be a little overwhelming in the beginning, and the combat really packs a fucking punch. I still really loved it. I found myself strategizing a lot more in this game than I did in Persona 5 and Pokemon, where I usually go in guns blazing. Yeah, if that wasn't obvious enough, please don't go gun blazing in this game, or you will absolutely have to restart your week. Is Persona 4 a hard game? Yes. Does it have the most flawless writing on the planet? No, of course not, because that's silly. Is Persona 4 a really fun game though? Abso-fucking-lutely. I can absolutely see why so many people played the shit out of Persona 4 and practically frothed at the mouth over its mention, because this game is just fantastic. To be honest, I wish I had gotten into it sooner, but sadly I didn't have a PS3 or PS Vita when this game was at its max popularity. That, and I wasn't nearly as decent as I am with turn-based RPGs now, so I would have just felt defeated because teenager. Genuinely though, if you loved Persona 5 or the newest Shin Megami Tensei game, you'll absolutely love Persona 4, and I highly recommend it to anyone who can play it. Price-wise, I'd say it's bang for your buck when even trying to speed through a Persona game, it's still over 100 hours long, so you're gonna get quite a few months or even years of gameplay here. What do you guys think of the Persona series or Persona 4? I fell in love with it, but I'm curious of what you guys think of Atlus's biggest cash cow to date. I don't think I'll be reviewing any other Persona games for a long time, just because they take way too long to finish, but as always, let me know down below what you guys think, and if you want to see more videos like this one. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. If any of you would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with all of my social media. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something, I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!